For the past 40 years, nonprofit community development groups have been a leading source of affordable housing. But more recently, some of them are getting more focused on helping people in the neighborhoods develop themselves through youth jobs and businesses. To tell us how it's done by the Dorchester Bay Economic Development Corporation is the CEO, Perry Newman. Thank you very much for being with us, Perry.
It's my pleasure, Chris. Thank you.
You know, for many years there was another person in charge at the EDC, and now you have come on. What were you doing before the EDC?
Well, I've done quite a few different things, and I hope some of them have been relevant and helpful in my current incarnation. I led a group at Major Philanthropy here in Boston, having to do with international business and politics at CJP. I led an Israel advocacy group. Before that, I've done some international business development. But my overall background has involved economic development and helping entrepreneurs develop ideas into businesses.
Well, you've had experience before with some of the technology startups in Israel and their connections to Boston. So how could this help the area served by Dorchester Bay?
Well, really what we have to do in all cases, and there are many, many analogs, is to take the idea that an entrepreneur has and provide the entrepreneur with the tools, the support, the mentorship, and the assets necessary to take that idea into a concept and a concept into a full-fledged business. And that's applicable everywhere, and we hope to build some of that into the economic development work that we do at Dorchester Bay.
Well, part of the strategy is digital storytelling. Explain how that works.
Well, there are so many great stories to tell in Dorchester, and we think in particular in the area that we serve in North Dorchester, that we decided to have some impact videos made by an entrepreneur who is part of the Fairmount Innovation Lab, which is a resident in our offices at 594 Columbia Road. And these impact videos tell the story of individuals whose business dreams have been advanced by Dorchester Bay's technical assistance on the business side of things. And these impact videos feel like Dorchester, they feel like Dorchester Bay, they have a real aspect of authenticity to them. And they're really, I won't say it's a cliche to say they're going viral, but several of them have been viewed several thousand times in the week or two that they've been up, and they really tell a great story of impact and creativity.
We're going to bring up a little excerpt from one of these.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Osborne, Boston City Hospital baby, born and raised in Dorchester. My father, Cephas Osborne, has always been very active in the community. With this knowledge and experience that I have of being able to travel the world, seeing all parts of the country, I wanted to bring this knowledge and this experience of being self-employed back to Boston, part of my community that I love so much. And I feel that if I'm able to reach out to youth and show them how to start their own business, that they can carry the same spirit to their youth. And in the process, they always ask you about, hey, starting a business, you need to get a loan, you need to get some money, you need to get some capital. And in that search for capital, I was introduced to Dorchester Bay. At Dorchester Bay, they offered me more than just a loan. They offered me the resources and the tools to carry my business on, to invite this vision that I have for the youth.
Well, when I saw the name Dwayne Osborne and I started listening to him talk about himself, I realized I had met his father many years ago, who was active in another part of Dorchester. How does that help a business when people see a clip like that and they react in that way?
Well, I think in one respect, it helps draw attention to the individual's business aspirations and their own goals. But in another way, it's inspirational to them. It creates something to aspire to, and in a rather self-serving way, it encourages people to think, hey, if Dwayne can do it, if Denise can do it, maybe Dorchester Bay has something that I can use that can help me advance my own idea. So it's all about creating examples and building upon the successes of others, and to create opportunities for people to take their own dream to the next level.
Of course, the other thing is that when you're doing business, you have to think more like the way things are on social media. It's not just about, here's a product, give me the money. This is about creating community, right?
That's right, and the technical assistance work that we do builds upon community resources, so we find local experts to help provide mentorship. We provide in addition to the capital we provide mentorship and technical assistance ourselves. We work with the Service Corps of Retired Executives to bring so-called vertical expertise to these businesses. And all of this is done within a local radius, if you like, so that we're not bringing in experts from the other side of the country. We're looking even closer than the other side of town for inspiration.
Of course, another thing you have going on there is the youth force. This has been going on for a while. And explain how this works. Because we usually see them, they're out in these demonstrations and they're advocating, or they're going up to reps and senators at the State House. But talk about everything else, because they're doing some quiet stuff behind the scenes that's really important.
Well, it's a great vehicle to talk about, because the end game that people see is the so-called demonstration or the interactions with a legislator and so on and so forth. And that's the end game, that's the culmination, that's the deliverable, if you like. But the process by which young people and members of the community generally become engaged in political activism and community engagement and so forth, that process is itself a leadership development tool. So it culminates, if you like, not necessarily in what I would call a final product or a final exam, but along the way the building blocks of advocacy are put into place and a foundation for future action is created. So it's not merely what is delivered at the end, it's the entire process by which a person becomes empowered. And the youth force has been a very, very successful example of that, and we're very proud of the work they do.
Another way to talk about how important this is to express it in terms of what's missing, especially in some of the economically disadvantaged neighborhoods, between youth jobs and opportunities for leadership. There isn't as much out there as there should be.
Well, there's always more to be done. I'm continually amazed on a day-to-day basis how many good people there are doing important work in service to our communities, but there's so much more to be done. There are many people who, for one reason or another, are falling through the cracks of the many opportunities that are available to engage. And so we have to meet them where they are, We have to develop programs and initiatives and things that resonate with them, and we're always in a process of continuous learning. So what has worked for Youth Force or any other aspect of Dorchester Bay's work in the past, we build on it, we try to pivot to meet the coming obligations.
It's also interesting to hear about things that EDC has done already. There's a business incubator which in an interesting way ties into the burgeoning restaurant industry in Boston and food truck industry. Talk about how that works.
So this is a real exciting showplace, and many, many kudos to those who have come before me and those who are continuing to do the work at the Bernstein Pearl Food Distribution Center, Food Production Center. Over on Quincy Street, there's a magnificent resurgence or a rebirth of a former meat production plant. And in this facility are businesses, small and some not so small, that are creating jobs for individuals interested in developing new food products. Restaurant initiatives, food trucks, and so on and so forth. And there are a number of really excellent businesses there, but I have to certainly call attention to Commonwealth Kitchen, which has done a marvelous job of creating the vehicle by which many, many aspiring entrepreneurs in the food business can try out their new product and do it at a fraction of the cost that they would never be able to achieve elsewhere. That's been a tremendous success, and it builds on our commercial real estate development capabilities at Dorchester Bay.
I heard your predecessor, Jean Dubois, talk about this some years ago, and one thing that always impressed me was when she said, this wasn't what we planned to do in the first place. We went into the neighborhood with a different plan, and people who live there said, no, we want the jobs.
That's right. And so a real focus for us is not just bringing in any business that can occupy that space, which is a wonderful space, but a business that will create jobs, local jobs, minority jobs, jobs for women. It's all about the mission, and so that is a business incubator in a food production facility with a purpose. And it has proven to be a marvelous success. So I give great credit to those who are doing the work now, and of course those who conceived of the idea in the past.
We should mention finally, if anybody would like some more information about the EDC, you've got a website they can check out?
We do. We have the Dorchester Bay Economic Development Corporation website, dbedc.org. And our lending portal in particular, our small business lending portal, is available in multiple languages. So you can click on the language of your choice and apply for a loan, if you like, in many different languages.
Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Chris.
Perry Newman from the Dorchester Bay EDC. We'll have more news in just a moment.